What is good, y'all? It's Ronald, also known as Youcapper from Sportsmemo.com. As you can see, I got my guy Finesse and Chris in the building. It's been a while since the three of us has been on here. Excited to have you guys on. It's getting late in the MLB season, man. How are you guys feeling about betting MLB with NFL here in front of our face, ready to go? Like, are you guys kind of slowing down on the MLB, or how you guys feeling?
Chris, you want to start?
Nah, go ahead, Vanessa. You got it.
Yeah, I mean, stuff's definitely getting weird in the MLB, whether it's lineups or managerial tendencies with these teams and stuff like that. Stuff is definitely getting weird in the MLB. I'm excited to kind of lean off of MLB, get more into NFL, really start digging into NBA, which is coming up fast, as we all know. So definitely still a grind. I definitely still love capping the MLB, but it's about that time to start, switching over fully. So.
Yeah, 100%. How you feeling, Chris? I know you've been doing well lately. Do you want to slow down or you want to keep going because you've been winning?
Nah, I think I'm gonna do the opposite of what Vanessa said. I think I'm gonna keep going, bro. And I know that's contrarian, RC. And I'm cool with being contrarian Chris, baby. I think I would agree with Vanessa in the sense that you can kind of slow down because I do think I'll slow down. I've been doing the NBA shows and NBA season is right around the corner. NFL been wacky to say the least throughout the first couple of weeks, but I think it'll settle in as well. I think for people who are trying to cap multiple sports at the same time and do it at a high level, you really got to pick and choose your spots. We always talk about that, even on bad days. But if it was the middle of May and we didn't have anything to bet on, or the middle of June and we didn't have anything to bet on, we would take deep dives into these MLB slates and try to find value for sure. Yeah. So I think now you just you look at the pitching matchup, the trends already if you've been doing this for a long period of time. And instead of going through all 15 games or 14 games a day, you just, pick and choose 2 or 3 spots and don't try to cap all of them. So, and that's what I think I've been doing, honestly, not, taking deep dives into these games as much, but still trying to find, a couple spots that I like each day for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be a period where we have NFL, college football, NBA, and college basketball and hockey all at the same time. I don't mess with hockey, but then there's also soccer. Like everybody, there's a lot of cappers out there that does all these sports, and to be able to do that successfully, you have to have some type of system in place to be able to spread your time out. If you don't have that system in place to be able to pull those games out that you just want to deep dive into right away, dude, that's going to take a lot of time and effort. So I mean, that's one thing that I want to give out to you guys as viewers is just like figure out the games and sports that you want to figure out the sports you want to bet on for this upcoming season, and figure out a process so that you don't have to look at every single game. Just pick out the ones that you have an edge on. So that's my recommendation for you guys. I have that in place with SDQL and Bet Labs. Those 2 tools for me have been such a game changer. So I would recommend you guys, try to use those tools. SDQL is free, as you guys know. Bet Labs is pretty pricey, but there might be other tools out there that I don't know about that could be a little bit cheaper. But with that said, let's break down 2 MLB games. First up, let me share my screen real quick. We can get into some live capping. All right, first up, we want to go into the Astros Rays. I think each one of us may have a look on this one, but we got McCullers and Kluber here. You see McCullers here, 2.34 ERA, 4.44 ERA for Kluber. If we look at McCullers, he's only had 6 starts. He's coming back off of injury. On the road, 1-1, 4.22 ERA last 3, looking good. 3-0, 2.89 ERA. Kluber last 3 looking the opposite, 1-2, and then 6.75 ERA. At home, 10-4, 3.92 ERA. If we look at some run support, he is getting run support at home, just hasn't been getting it lately. If we look at the batting splits, Astros, pretty consistent, whether they hit left or right on the road. The Rays struggle at home against righties, and you can see that in the last 2 games. They got blanked 2 games in a row. Before we get into Give Me the Dog, Finesse, what were your initial takes on this one? Do you think the Rays continue to struggle hitting against McCullers here?
Yeah, I mean, I took a little bit of a different angle to McCullers. His strikeout prop dropped at 4.5. I think it was last night at some point, or early morning. Dropped at 4.5, and it was still playable. You can't get that number playable right now, but I still like the 5+ strikeouts if you want to pair that with something. The guy is absolutely filthy. Excuse me. Tampa's been striking out a lot less as of recent, but to ask a guy that we assume is going to go 6 innings versus Tampa Bay team to get 5 Ks, I really like that. Main play in this game, I really like Houston first 5. There's a lot of different reasons for that. So just looking at the Houston side, overall last 10 games, they're 8-1-1 in the first 5. They're scoring 4.2 runs in the first 5, only allowing 1.3. I think it's a perfect situational spot for them. Looking at Houston first 5, last 10 first 5s on the road, they're 10-0, perfect 10-0 in the first 5 on that run line. You mentioned how Kluber's been doing his last couple of starts. He's been good overall, especially since August 1st, but definitely rocky last 3 starts, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Houston's been doing a lot better versus lefties than versus righties, but I think they're just playing free right now. They locked up the postseason berth, locked up the division, outscoring their opponents 20-2 in the last 3 games. As you mentioned, blanking Tampa Bay last 2 games. I think Houston can get to Kluber. I like McCullers on the mound. I think he can do damage versus Tampa Bay lineup. And 10-0 is not a number I'm going to ignore in the first 5 on the road. So I'm going to take Houston to get it done in the first 5, and then also like McCullers 5+ Ks.
I like that. So just looking at McCullers 5+ Ks. When we look at McCullers here, you can see that his innings has gone up. His starters innings pitch has gone up gradually, especially in the last 3 games. And then you look at, I think you mentioned this too, how the Rays struggle against righties, and you can see the uptick in strikeouts at home against righties. That's 2 strikeouts above against lefties. So I could definitely see that happening. One thing that I wanted to before we get to you, Chris, one thing that I wanted to bring up is this. The way that I was looking at it was the first 5 over. And the reason being is looking at this Rays trend here, when they go 2 straight games under, and both of those lost as well, they're 7-0 on the first 5 over. If you look at the averages there, that's over 7 runs per game, over 7.5 runs per game in the first 5 themselves. And the first 5 total is actually just 3.5. So for me, I'm just gonna kind of stay away from the side here and just focus in on that total, because I don't see the Rays getting blanked three straight games. That's tough to do in the MLB. So that's the way that I was looking at it. Chris, how are you tackling this one?
So officially, see, I'm not tackling it at all. I don't have anything official on it, but just listening to what you guys were saying, I think Vanessa made some great points to back Houston in the first 5 here. You're over, RC. I think they could get there on that as well. I was watching the end of the game last night, and I think whoever was the pitcher for the Astros, the closer for the Astros, he walked, I think, maybe the first 2 guys in the top of the 9th. Yeah. And they talked about the Astros not being blanked. I think not the Astros, the Rays not being blanked back-to-back games since like 2 or 3 months, something like that. So I do think that they come with some fire. I just don't know if they'll be able to score in this one either. I see, like you said, McCullers has been good, especially in his starts when he's a favorite. One thing I looked at, RC, the team that he's pitching against is they're only scoring half a run in his 4 games since he's returned from the injury this year, deep into the season. And then when you look at him being a favorite, it's still only a half a run. And I mean, they're typically always a favorite when he's pitching, because he pitches for the Astros, of course. But even his starter runs allowed, RC, I see only 1. So all of those things we saw, Kluber, he's regressing a little bit. If you watch the the tad bit of a performance he had in his recent game against I think it was against the Yankees, he got absolutely demolished early in that game and had to be pulled. and he's kind of regressed to the mean a little bit. So I will be leaning, towards what Finesse was saying with that first five. Look towards the Astros. I also see that the Astros in away games against right-handed pitching, they're 20-12 on the season, which is a 62.5% hit rate. Outscoring their opponents by 1 run, 2.82 to 1.82. So for all of those reasons, I think the Astros can keep it going today. I didn't place that bet, but I really like what Finesse was saying about taking the Astros on the first 5 run line. First 5 money line.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense there. So Finesse, I just want to make sure I got your plays correctly. It's the McCullers over 5Ks, and then the Astros first 5 money line.
Yeah, 5+ K, so 5 will cash it if you guys want to use it as a parlay piece. Yeah. Not sure what it's looking like. I think you can get that pretty playable under minus 200 at most spots, and then Houston first 5 run line.
Yeah, I see Mitch. He got the over 5.5 at plus 118. It does. To me, based on what you guys are saying, and also just the numbers from SpoDevs, it looks like that's definitely a spot to look at. The fact that the Rays strike out a little bit more at home against righties, and McCullers is kind of getting his feet under him. So I definitely feel that play a lot. I might look into that one a little bit more.
You see what RC real quick? You see what SoCal just put in the chat? The Astros as away favorites in the last game of the series when the line is greater than 200. He said it's 12-3 in this spot. And shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to the chat for sure. I see Tariq asked if we could talk about the Dodgers. I don't know if we're gonna get there or not. And then Joseph Peterson, do you feel like you lose your feel for certain teams, players, trends after a layoff of a few days or weeks? I think you just go with the numbers, Joseph. That would be my take on that. Baseball is so analytical. There's so many different websites that we pull information from. Whether it's Fangraphs or props.cash or SpoDevs, Give Me the Dog, Killer Sports, MLB website, Roto Grinders. It's a ton of information. So I think you just go with what you find. You back the information, especially when you don't got a baseball team like myself.
Yeah. So shout out to SoCal. This does support the Astros here and the first 5 over as well. So I like that. I like that look a lot here.
And that's full game, right, RC?
Yeah, 12-3 full game, 9-3-3 on the first 5 money line. So you're still very profitable there. And then the first 5 over.
That's as away favorites. What at what line?
Over minus 200. So gotcha. Like as long as they're not favored at 200 or higher. And then this is the last game of the series.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so I like those plays a lot. So that was a good breakdown on game 1. The second game that we wanted to look at was, and this is one that I'm relying on you guys because I know you guys looked at this one pretty deeply. I haven't even looked at this game at all, but so we're looking at Cubs and Marlins, Stroman and Luzardo. From a record perspective, both of these guys,
it's an ugly duckling.
Yeah. From ERA, not too bad, right? 3.76, pretty actually even when it comes to the starting pitchers. And we want to go into starter analysis here. Stroman pitches really good on the road, but his record's not showing that. 4-8 on the road, 1.84 ERA. Same thing here in the last 3, still pretty good as far as ERA goes, but only 1-2 record-wise. He's just not getting the run support he needs. Luzardo on the opposite end here, 1-5 record-wise, but 5.76 ERA. So he struggles at home while Stroman thrives on the road. So me guessing what you guys are going to do is probably looking to Stroman's side here on the Cubs. And we look at batting perspective, Marlins, they just struggle wherever they are. Righties on the at home, 3.51. Run support only batting 231. Here, Cubs actually struggle on the road against lefties, so that's pretty interesting there. If we look at last 5, consistent with what they've been doing all season long. Bullpen, we'll look at bullpen here. Both pretty bad in their spots as well. I don't know where you guys are going with it, but from the looks of it, maybe backing the Cubs here, and then maybe staying away from the bullpen. So something in the first 5. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I can start. I see. So so you're exactly right. I see. Based on the numbers, you saw it already, right? So one of the things I looked at, and I talked about, I told you guys, before the show started, that this would probably be a half unit play for me, just because I don't really trust either one of these teams. This is really back in the numbers. So one of the things I looked at, RC, was Stroman on the first 5 run line when he's an away dog. Since July 1st. So look at Stroman as an away dog since July 1st. And you talked about his ERA going down, dropping significantly in these spots. So that was something that kind of jumped out to me. He's 6-0 on the run line as a dog in the first 5 since July 1st in his away starts, only allowing, like you see it right there, 0.717 runs in the first 5. His ERA, that's a 3.76, drops down to a 1.84, which we talked about already. And then on the opposite side, you get Luzardo. Luzardo, we've seen him pitch well. He went to LA and pitched against the Dodgers and did really well. But when he comes home, that's where he typically struggles. If you flip it, RC, and look at Luzardo in his home games, you bring up that query, you'll see that he's 1-5 in the first 5 in home games. His ERA, that's a 3.75, like you said, goes up to a 5.76 in home games. His last couple, he's given up 5 and 4 runs against the Mets, the Rays, and the Braves. And I know those are all playoff teams, but I think he could give up a few more. And I think this is probably a relatively low-scoring game, maybe 2-1, maybe 3-1, maybe 1-0 at the end of the first 5, because I don't typically trust the Cubs bats against lefties. That was a trend that we had kind of posted in the chalkboard, RC, and we were kind of following that. I don't know if you remember that one or not, but the Cubs started off really bad against lefties on the road. Yeah, so but I think Luzardo in this spot, could give up a few runs, and I trust Stroman and his do-rag to be able to, limit the offense from the Miami Marlins. And then so another thing I looked at, if you go back to the RC, if you just look at Luzardo, like if you just scroll down from right where you are right now, look at how much run support he gets. We talk about Stroman not getting run support. This guy gets 2.4, and we know Miami can't score, right? So that was the kind of cherry on top for me. I think getting it at a really good price. We also had a push potential if you take the money line. So if it is a 1-1 game where don't nobody scores 0-0, 2-2, whatever the case might be, we still got push potential too. So I didn't lock that in yet for full transparency, but I am gonna put a half unit on the Chicago Cubs first 5 money line.
Yeah. Have you guys looked at the under at all?
Yeah, that was my other look. The only thing that scared me off, RC, was what I just talked about with Luzardo. I think it's always at 6.5 now. I don't know if it opened at 7 or opened at 6.5. So the books clearly aren't expecting a lot of runs in this one.
Yeah.
What talked me off is, like I said, Luzardo last 3 games, RC, 5 runs in 3.1 innings. He got pulled early against the Mets, 5 runs in 6 innings against the Rays, and then 4 runs against the Atlanta Braves. So he just gets touched up in his home starts, which is why the ERA goes up to 5.76, and that's what scared me off of the under.
I got you. Okay, what about you, Finesse? How are you looking at this one?
Yeah, I'm right there with Chris. I mean, all amazing info. I won't regurgitate too much, but yeah, I do think it's a low scoring game as well, which is why I like getting Chicago plus the half a run in the first 5 even more at playable odds. I really like that. I'll start with, and you guys mentioned most of this, just where these teams are offensively in these spots. Chicago's been up and down versus lefties, more up definitely than down this season. Haven't been facing a lot of lefties, but since September 1st, 125 at bats, they're batting 281, WRC plus of 120. They're walking 12% of the time, not striking out a ton. And then we look at Miami in these spots, it's really bad versus righties at home. Every offensive stat that I look at is below league average. Kind of zooming into these pitchers. Like Chris said, Stroman is a monster on the road. Last 10 road starts, he is 6-3-1. I mean 6-1-3, 3 ties in the first 5. So that's why I like getting a half a run there as well. He's only surrendering 1.3 runs in that first 5. In 7 of those 10 starts, he's blanked the opponent in the first 5. So just machine on the road. And then Luzardo at home, he's had 6 starts at home. He's allowed 4 runs in the first 5, like Chris mentioned. And he is 1-5 in those starts in the first 5. So love the spot for Chicago here. I think they can definitely get to Luzardo like Chris was talking about. I don't mind the first 5 team total at 1.5 either. I was heavily debating between both of those, but I think being able to get the half a run in a lower scoring game that we're expecting, I really, really like that.
So that would be the Cubs on the first 5 run line, right?
Yep, plus the half a run. I also really like Luzardo under 7.5 Ks. That's going to be a little bit contrarian. The first thing people are going to see is the projected lineup for the Cubs, which is terrible K-wise, but it's going to be almost all righties versus Luzardo. His K percent for the year goes down versus righties, and over the last 5 starts, I believe, it's only at 20% strikeout rate versus righties. So he pitched about as well as he could versus Cubs team. I think it was in August. Went 7, only 2 hits, still only struck out 6 in that game. So I think 7.5 strikeouts is way too high. So I'll take the under there as well.
I got you. Yeah, if you're just looking at Luzardo at home, he's struggling to get past that first 5 with a lead, period. So I get that. What's interesting to note though is how, we were talking about Luzardo struggling at home as far as his ERA. He's 5-1 in the first 5 over, but the game ends up going under for the majority of the part. So the bullpen's doing their part to keep it under. Last 2 has gone over. But a lot of the things that I've been looking at while you guys were discussing your takes were kind of pointing me towards the under here, even at the low 6.5.
RC, real quick. If you go back, RC, just a couple to you had already queried Marcus Stroman after July 1st. It's a similar trend to that one right there. RC. It's a similar trend to what you were talking about as far as first 5 runs to full game runs, and you talked about it when you were on Spodevs, the lack of run support. Look at the first 5 run support that he's not getting, right? That he's giving up. He's only given up 0.17 runs, but the team is the opposing team is scoring 3 more runs after he leaves the first 5. So that's another reason that kind of, I don't trust the Cubs bullpen. They burned me one time, and that was enough for me. So I haven't really, anything. I already told you, RC. You know how I feel about full games anyway. I just feel like they can get blown up, and it takes too long to get your money. It's like a future bet. But as far as like, trusting teams in the first 5, I really only got to see it a couple times for me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna trust Marcus Stroman. But that bullpen is a whole separate team, so I'm not looking to back them at all. Yeah. What were you seeing, RC, specifically? I know even with this trim right here, he's 4-2-1 to the full game under and 6-1 to the first 5 under in this spot.
Mm-hmm. So we look at this, right? So I already got 4-0-2 and 6-0 to the under, but we just move forward. So I'll just go with Luzardo. He's already, just him himself is 10-4 to the under, or the Marlins are 10-4 to the under full game in his starts. And then I just keep moving forward. If you go as a favorite, 3-1 to the under, even though he's 2-1-1 to the over. Right here, 5-1 to the under when the total is less than 8. 3-3 to the on the first 5. So a lot of things are just saying, I forget the first 5, just go to that full game under, especially with how Stroman, I feel like he goes pretty deep into the games, right? Or am I mistaken here?
He don't go that deep.
So Stroman's going actually. So last 3 he's gone to 6. To me, it's looking like full game. It has been what the trends are pointing me towards, as far as just like every trend pointing in that direction.
Yeah,
but I'm not. I don't know if I'm gonna make a bet on it.
Yeah, if you trust Luzardo if you trust the Cubs best to not be able to get the hits, RC, I don't see a reason why not to take it, because he's the only thing that kept, like I said, he's the only thing that kept me off of it. Them guys just they've been rocking him recently. So
yeah, it's just interesting that a lot of the trends are saying over in the first 5 and then under in on the full game. When that happens, it's tough because what if they just go off in that first 5? Yeah, I'll just stay off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys both were on the Cubs first 5 run line?
Yeah, I said run line. I think I said money line. I think Finesse said run line. He's taking a half a point. And I'm just taking the money line.
Got you.
Yes,
Okay.
Wham in the chat. What up, OG Wham?
I would lean towards the full game under. I don't know if I'm gonna get to the window with it, but that's the way that I'm leaning here. What's up to the chat? Thanks for all you guys popping in and dropping your plays. I like that.
Mitch said this Cubs team is a AAA team. Shout out to Mitch, bro.
All right. So those are the 2 games that we wanted to break down. We do have the Thursday night football game as well. For tomorrow, Steelers at Browns. Browns are favored 4.5. Total is hella low, 38.5. Yeah, I have a couple of trends to look at here. I'll just start off because I have it up already. But this one here is looking at like earlier, prior to the trade deadline, week 6 and under since 2015. Teams coming off of a favorite as a loss at home and it's playing at home, and they put up a good amount of points in the previous game, 28 or higher. Usually when you see that, right, they're coming off of a loss as a favorite, and then they put up 28 points. You think they're a good offensive team, and they're going to bounce back. But I think what happens is they actually get overvalued the next week, and you just fade them the next week. Since 2015, 0-10 on the spread, and that's pointing towards the Steelers for this Thursday. It includes a primetime game here on Monday in 2016. That's a lot. That's pretty far back, but with NFL, with not having that many games for sample size for the season by team, I really look at league-wide trends for the most part, because that's how the books see the games, right? Like, how do they adjust by line, game after game, and situationally? So that's the way that I was looking at it on this one. A lot of things other than this trend here was pointing me towards the Steelers as well. But Finesse, how are you looking at this one for Thursday night?
Yeah, I haven't locked anything in yet. I'm looking at a couple things, leaning a couple ways. I start with the injuries. I believe Clowney is officially out for this game. Myles Garrett might be out for this game. I think that's huge for a couple of reasons. I think Steelers can finally start getting a run game popping, which they just haven't been able to break through there. And then Trubisky is going to obviously get more time, which I think is going to be huge for that offense. So, like you said, lowest total of the week. I think it's going to be just a ground and pound fucking, heaven the whole game. So I really I'm leaning towards Chubb. I like Hunt in some form or fashion as well in terms of their rushing yards. I like what's his face? I like Chubb to get in the end zone this week. On the other side, I do like Najee Harris for the reasons that I said before. I just think the game script really favors both teams on the ground, trying to control clock. I think Brown's coming off that lowest, like you said, to the lowly Jets. I think they just know we got to ground and pound, do what we do best, which is run the ball versus a diminished offensive line. Chubb doesn't have the best history versus Steelers, but those were much, much better Steeler teams, much, much better front sevens. So I do like those guys. I like both starting running backs to get in the end zone. I would lean Steelers to cover. That's probably my lightest lean. I don't like trusting Trubisky, and I feel like it's going to be a sweat either way. But I know a lot of things favor Tomlin in this spot. A lot of things favor the road dogs in this spot, which I think Chris is going to get into. So I would lean Steelers plus the 5.5. I think it's a little bit too disrespectful. But yeah, just a couple of leans, nothing official yet. Ugly game in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to get the +5 closer to open. I think it opened at 5.5. So I don't know how important it is to get that half point right there. I feel like the Steelers actually might be able to pull it off. I like you mentioned, with the D-line struggling to stay healthy, that's an important part of this game right here. Especially with the how the Steelers offense rolls with Tomlin and his offensive play calling. The other thing to know, Joey mentioned this. I was looking, so I pulled it up. Is the Browns division as division favorites since 2008, 2-14-1 against the spread. So a lot of things pointing towards the Steelers here. In divisional stats like this, when you have rivalries and things like that, those are important things to take note. Chris, I know you looked at this one a little bit as well. What were some takeaways for you?
Yeah, RC, I love what Finesse just mentioned because I hadn't even really first and foremost, what Finesse said, I haven't placed anything officially in this game, but it seems like we're all aligning. I would only be able to look at Pittsburgh in this one too, RC. A couple of things I looked at. So far this season, away dogs are 9-8, which is 53%. Underdogs in general are 17-13-1. That's 57%. And then the trend that kind of goes with what you have already up there, RC, on the opposite side of the Browns in the division being favorite. So I got and you can actually look this up if you want to, RC. So since 2018, the Steelers are 6-3 straight up, 7-2 ATS. As away dogs in the division. So if you do away dogs in division,
I already had it up. Okay.
Oh, word. Okay. So yeah, that trend, based on what you just said about the Browns, based on what Finesse said about the injuries, would only I would only be able to back Pittsburgh in this spot. If you look at that trend right there, you pull it up, RC, you can see that they're actually 2-1 specifically against the Browns in this spot. And I'm not trusting the Browns laying points. Did anybody watch the game last week against the Jets? And the Jets just stormed down the field like they were playing against a high school team at the end of the game, and was scoring points left and right. Like I'm not in a position where I feel comfortable backing Jacoby Brissett laying points. I don't care if it's at home, if it's in on Jupiter. I don't care where it's at. I'm not laying points backing Jacoby Brissett when I've seen that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And I think it's a dogfight for sure, like Finesse said, but 4.5 points is a one possession game. Well, that could be a 2 possession game, depending on if we're talking about the field goal or not. Give me the 4.5, RC. I haven't placed it yet, but that's the only way I would be able to look in this one.
Yeah, I think we're all aligned there. Sometimes that's scary though.
It's only scary, RC, when it's just a whole bunch of mayhem. But I feel like we did our due diligence. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're blindly betting out here. The NFL is just wacky at times, and there's nothing you can do about that.
And that's the thing. I think the Steelers are going to be a little bit public for the reasons that we just stated. There's a lot of people looking at the same kind of things. Or Tomlin, divisional dog, things like that. But I mean, in a dog fight with a total so low, you know what I'm saying? Being able to lock in 5, you can still get that number. And Chris said, Jacoby Brissett laying 5 points. Like, I know they're at home. I know they got a dominant run game, but I mean, come on now. Like, what are we fucking doing here?
Yeah. Here's the other thing. So I was just trying to deep dive while you guys were discussing, and what I wanted to look at as the total with a low total. I wanted to look at totals 39 or lower. So I just did that initially since 2018, because you know how offenses, the league has changed prior to like when Mahomes and stuff pulled up to the league, offenses started going crazy. So totals started to adjust right around, I want to say 2017, 2018. So what I wanted to look at was low totals, 39 or lower since 2018. If we just blindly do that, sorry, let me put something to single it out. 24, 14 to the under. That's what is that? 63%, 64, 63.2% to the under. It's hit his last 5 in a row, dating back to last season. Actually, 2 games fit the bill. This week, is that Monday? Oh, that is Monday night at 39. So that might be 2 games that we look at towards the under. One thing that I did want to also look at was dogs in that situation. And this is what Finesse just touched on, is low scoring game, and dogs coming to play, the 62.2% covering the spread there. So I think we're on the right track as far as the Steelers covering as dogs here, and especially a divisional game, a low scoring divisional game. and maybe a lean towards the under as well. And this is gonna go for both games, Steelers and Cowboys. So that's two plays in one cap, I guess you could say that. Anything else to look into? What any questions that you guys want to try to dive into here?
Nah, nothing for me. I see this is a great trend though. I like that. And I like what the chat is saying as well. I think besides, I see a lot of people talking about the Dodgers game and that being a trap, but like the comments on this game, I think they all kind of go hand in hand. I think we all looking at this game the same way for sure.
Yeah, and I see Akuchi here dropping a query.
What is that, IC? What is the YPPL? I don't even know what that is.
YPPL. That's I think yards per play.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So previous game yards per play is less than opponent's previous game yard per play. So this is just a long league-wide trend, and I like these because, like I said earlier, with team trends in NFL, there's not a large sample size, so you want to make sure you have the same coaching, same offensive and defensive schemes when we do those team trends. Otherwise, it's really just league-wide stuff. So Road Dog in their yards per play is less than opponent's yards per play. A divisional matchup, and it's expected to be a tight game.
A short line,
yeah.
See how many fit the bill in that one, Ozzy? Can we? Oh, it's just this one. Okay. Yeah, that under looking.
I like that one.
Better and better,
I like that trend. It makes a lot of sense because you want that team is probably going to come back up a little bit, right? Because they're coming off of a bad game. Divisional, so they're looking into it as a key game. And Road Dog is always a good way to play in the NFL. I like that trend a lot. So shout out to Artucci for that one. That's it, guys. Anything else to add as far as NFL goes? You want to drop anything before we cut out?
Just one more quick look. I do like Donovan Peoples-Jones under his receiving yards, slightly in there.
What's the number?
I think it was 32.5. You can get it super quick though. Receiving Peoples-Jones. So it's down to 20.5 on DK. I would say just I would say just a line shop. I'm pretty sure you can
line shop. You got a line shop for that one.
Yeah.
You know those props. Sometimes I think it might have been SoCal that mentioned it to me, but these player props in the NFL, if you line shop, you could find some crazy ass like value. Like you can get like under 30, like just for this example, under 32, over 28.5. I mean, you would probably want to find a larger margin, but you could probably find a lot of places where you can do that.
For touchdown scorers too, bro. Touchdown score discrepancies in these lines, be ridiculous, bro.
That's crazy. But yeah, so that's shit, hold on. Okay, that is it for the show today, guys. I gotta cut out because I'm doing the Sportsmemo baseball show right after this. So just going through recap. First baseball game, Astros Rays. Finesse McCullers is over 5 Ks or more. What was the line on that? Do you remember?
That's an old line at this point. Okay. It should be a little bit less than -200, somewhere around that area. So just nice parlay piece.
All right. So parlay piece on that one. I know you got the 4.5, and then I think Mitch in the chat was saying 5.5 was like plus 118. So if you want to do that's there. But that's not Finesse's play. Astros first 5 money line for Finesse as well. I'm going with the first 5 over 3.5 in that game. Second game, we got the Cubs Marlins. Finesse.
Hey, real quick, I see. I'm on the first 5 money line. Finesse is he's on the run line plus the 0.5 point.
That's on the Cubs though, right?
Yeah, the Cubs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Finesse Cubs first.
-106 for me on the run on the money line.
Finesse Cubs first 5 run line, and then Chris Cubs first 5 money line. I didn't have anything official on that game, but I'm looking at the under full game, under 6.5 full game. And then on the NFL, it looks like we're all aligned on Steelers there. Probably gonna lean towards the under as well. I'm gonna look deeper into that one if I want to take it or not. And then Finesse also dropped Donovan Peoples-Jones under his receiving yards. He got it at 32. So definitely a line trap. You want to make sure you get the best number possible on that. Other than that, that is the end of the show. Before we cut out, anything to promote, guys? Finesse, I know you got a new Discord. Chris, I know I think you probably have another show coming up. But yeah, drop what you need to promote real quick before we cut out. Finesse, you go first.
Yeah, not here to promote anything. If you guys want to check me out on Twitter, obviously would appreciate that. Yeah, excited to continue to hop on here when I can. Chris getting the NBA shit popping. I know he got a lot of things in the works, so excited to keep grinding, keep supporting you guys, and keep growing and doing what we do. So I appreciate you having me. A lot of value in this last 40-45 minutes. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the platform, and yeah, let's make some money.
Yes, sir. Chris, what's up?
Yeah, same. See, nothing to really promote. I would just tell people to check out the show. Like I said, 5:15 Eastern time every single day. Yesterday we recapped the Lakers. We recapped last season and looked ahead, did a team preview for the Lakers and the Raptors. Today, same thing, same time. YouTube, Twitter Spaces, 5:15 Eastern time. We'll be breaking down the New York Knicks and the Utah Jazz. Probably won't spend a lot of time on the Utah Jazz, but we'll be looking at the Knicks. Going to the Garden, and that's all I got. That's all. Oh, of course. Where is it? Right here. Check out the QR code.
You guys always confused
because it was backwards, bro. Scan the QR code, man. Hop in the Youcapper University chalkboard group run by yours truly. I got my guys right here. The triangle of the chalkboard community. But that's all I got, RC. Appreciate you as always for having me on, bro. Let's get some cash today, man.
Yes, sir. So yeah, like I said, this is the end of the show, guys. Thanks to all who tuned in on YouTube and on Twitter. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button before you bounce. Make sure you check out the links in the description as well. And always remember, I have to end with this all the time, man. Whether you fade us or follow us, it's on you to make that call. Good luck on all your action. Till next time. Peace.